everybody, this is Samantha, and I would like to thank you all for coming in to listen to me today. And I would like to thank you for coming all the way out to my house. And I will try and have some cookies by the time that we're finished with this. So you are certainly welcome to come in. I think today I'm going to be talking about side effects because medicine side effects, because right now I'm experiencing quite a few. I don't remember if I talked about this before, because that's one of the side effects, is that I took several medicines today because I was having trouble breathing. So on top of my regular medicines, I take medicines for seizures, and I take measures for anxiety, and I take medicines for depression. And on top of that, I had to take some cold medicine and some Benadryl because I was having trouble breathing. So if you put those all together, what you have is a really nice barrel of confusion, which is kind of where I am. But I wanted to talk about the side effects of just a single medication. When they put you on a single medication, what it can be like. And I'm not gonna talk about different types of drugs because I'm not able to do that. And I'm not going to talk about doses, or like doses, even if I might tell you what I'm on, but I'm not going to tell you doses because I think that's kind of dangerous, because I think then people start to compare themselves, and that's not good. So anyway, the first medicine that I was on, which I was on for my seizures, made me tired. And when I say made me tired, I mean a half a dose of what I was supposed to take 3 times a day, so it'd be a sixth of a dose, put me to sleep for the entire day. So obviously we had to cut that down, and then I had to slowly raise it up and up and up. And for 2 or 3 months, I was miserable, because every time I finally got it to where I could stay awake, we had to add in another dose. And so that was very frustrating to me. But I know now that if I had told my doctor that I was having the frustration, we would have kept me longer before I went up, so that I could have some days where I didn't feel foggy in the head before we went up, and then I would feel foggy in the head again. So one of the things that I've slowly learned is to talk to your doctor. But I was institutionalized as a teenager, which I'll talk about soon, and I didn't have any control of my medication there, and so okay, my timer didn't start, so I have to just figure this out. I can't have more than 15 minutes, or I can't post it. So anyway, because of the experiences in the institution, I was even medicated against my will. I am terrified of doctors, and it's hard for me to open up to them and tell them what's wrong with me, because I feel like any information I give them might be used against me. Which sounds really weird, unless you've been medicated against your will, and then it makes perfect sense, because these people had control over medicines that controlled your body, and you had no say in it. So that's a terrifying thought. But back to side effects now. I'm glad that I have a doctor now who, if I talk to her, she listens, and she believes me, and she understands that I was scarred from that experience when I was younger, And she accepts that. And so she will reassure me several times that she believes me and that things are real, that I'm not making things up and stuff like that, because they really got inside my head and fucked me up. So this is so stream of consciousness. So sleepiness is a really common effect, and if you get tired and can't handle it, talk to your doctor, because you should be going up at slow steps. And if you're too sleepy, then you're going up too fast, and so you need to ramp up on things. And the thing is, everybody's different. I once was on a medication for migraines. Oh yeah, that's another thing I have. I'm a mess, which is why I just live on my bed. Another thing for migraines was they gave me a certain medication, and it was right after the seizures had started, and I had trouble talking. And we thought it was from the seizures, and it was terrifying, because I'd gone from these seizures where I could talk, and I was going to grad school and everything, and then suddenly I couldn't even speak sentences that made sense. They just came out word salad. It turns out it was from the medication I was on, which is wild. And the only reason I knew that is because my girlfriend at the time knew that. And so we went to the doctor and said, look, we're having this problem, and we've looked it up, and it occurs in 0.1% of the population, which is a really small percentage of people, which is what she said. She said, no, you don't. It's, I would say it's all in your head, but obviously it was in my head. You're making it up so you're kind of like making it up or convincing yourself of it because it's such a small percent that have it. Well, when I went to, and she took me off of it, and even though she was sure that it wasn't that, and I got better, and she was just sure that it was there's a word for it. It's just like I was hypochondriac, that I was having like a hypochondriac thing around it. But as my seizure doctor, which is the one I really like, pointed out several times, somebody has those reactions. And so if you go to a doctor and say, look, I'm having this reaction and I've seen that it's a possibility, at least talk it out with the doctor. If the doctor is just like, only a small portion have that possibility, say, well, why are you shrugging it off? Now, don't go to WebMD and look up your medication and look up every possible side effect. Be aware of the main side effects, and if you start to have something out of the ordinary, like, I don't know, you have trouble talking, that's when you need to look at the side effects a little more seriously. But I guess it's not just that you have to take them seriously, but the people around you have to. And it can really suck, because we were recently ramping me down on one of my we were recently ramping me down on one medication to go up on another. Well, on the way down, I completely lost it. I mean, like, I flipped out, I was crying, I was yelling, I was a mess. And so we had to put me back up to the top of this. And then now we're putting me down a little bit slower, and we're putting me up on this. And these are for my depression, to get my depression maybe less depressed. And I don't know what's going to happen as I go through this. So part of the thing is, if you're on more than one medication, it can get really wonky. And so you have to pay attention and maybe keep a journal and just make sure that you're aware of this stuff. Make sure you're aware that I started my medication on this day, and oh wow, the day after is when I started having dry mouth. Or the day after is when I had trouble swallowing. So if you're having trouble like that, like, write it down in your notebook and see if it persists and see if that's what's going on. And there are, if you've ever watched the commercials on TV, you know how they tell you what all the different possible side effects are. But there are some weird ones, like I was on one of my medications too long, and now my legs jump. Just out of nowhere, my legs jump, and sometimes my arm jumps. And it's just out of nowhere. It's not a seizure. It's just muscle contractions every once in a while with no warning. So that's the side effect. And that's because I was on the medication long term. And that will never go away. But I knew that was the side effect. And I made a choice because I really needed that medication, which, again, I'll get into later. But I really needed that medication to try to help me get off of the OxyContin that I was on. And so it was more important that I got off of that, even if it meant some leg jumping the rest of my life. So sometimes it's a big decision to make these things. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't write it off. If you see it there, and, like, if your eyes are dry, or your mouth is dry, or your nose is dry, or your hands are tremoring, or you can't quite keep your balance, or something like that, you need to be aware that this stuff happens and that it's real. I guess the most important thing to know is that it's real. And right now I'm having a horrible problem with all that cold medicine and shit, because I'm having a very hard time concentrating. So hopefully I've helped you out with something and I haven't just talked in a complete circle. If you have any questions, you can put them down below, or I'm starting to maybe get something set up. I'm not sure. So I'm done with my 15 minutes. I'm out of time, so I have to go. But that's what I wanted to say today, so hopefully that helps someone out. You have an excellent day. Please hit the up button, because apparently I need some of these. I don't have any. And have an excellent day. Bye.